what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. But today, I want you to question that statement. What if, in reality, you believe and still don't achieve? What if the problem isn't a lack of faith, nor a lack of talent, nor a lack of opportunities, but rather a single thing almost no one notices: the ability to keep going even when everything inside you screams to stop? The truth is harsh, and almost no one talks about it. Success doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't want to know if you're tired, if your day was tough, or if life feels unfair. It only wants to know one thing: did you take one more step? That's the difference between those who arrive and those who almost arrive. And if you're watching this video now, it's because you've been just one step away and still stopped. The pain you feel when you think about giving up isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of proximity. The emotional exhaustion that hits suddenly, the silent thought of maybe this isn't for me, the tightness in your chest that appears when something goes wrong, all of this shows up precisely when you're closer to a breakthrough than you imagine. And that's the irony almost no one understands. The moment you most want to stop is exactly the moment you most need to keep going. Because it's there, at that specific point, that most people give up, and only a few push forward. And perhaps you've been through this more times than you can count. Have you noticed how every time you decide to change your life, something happens to test you? You start exercising, and soon a pain appears. You begin saving money, and an unexpected expense arises. You start a new project, and suddenly a wave of insecurity hits. This happens to almost everyone. It doesn't matter age, profession, or social class. There's an emotional pattern that tries to pull you back into comfort whenever you try to break a cycle. The problem is that most people interpret this sign in the worst possible way, as a warning to stop. But it's not. It's just the old limit trying to stay alive. It's your brain accustomed to past patterns, asking to return to what's familiar. And this feeling is so real, so strong, so convincing, that many believe it as if it were absolute truth. How many times have you thought, if it were meant to be, it would be easier? How many times have you interpreted difficulty as a lack of destiny, luck, or talent? Statistically, this is exactly what happens. A study from the University of Scranton showed that 92% of people abandon their goals due to emotional exhaustion, not incapacity. They give up when emotion outweighs reason. But what distinguishes the 8% who make it? Persistence. Persistence when the body demands rest. Persistence when the mind tries to sabotage. Persistence when uncertainty tries to dominate. And at this point, it's worth observing the life of Napoleon Hill. Not the legendary version who wrote Think and Grow Rich, but the poor young man who lived in rural areas of the US, who lost his mother very early, and who grew up believing his destiny was to enter the coal mines as his father wished. He himself revealed that he lived for years believing he wasn't good enough, that there was no future, that some people simply weren't born for great things. And this part of the story doesn't cause sadness, it causes identification, because it shows that even he, the greatest name in personal development, faced the same feeling you face today: self-doubt. Hill recounted that, at various moments, he was one step away from giving up his writing career. He had fear, he had insecurities, and he even thought about abandoning everything. What saved him? It wasn't luck. It wasn't money. It was the decision to take just one step more than the step his emotions told him to stop at. And that single step changed his entire story, leading him to Andrew Carnegie, the encounter that would transform his life forever. And now think about yourself. How many times have you stopped because you believed you were reaching your limit, when in reality, you were just getting to the part where your life would start to change? How many opportunities were lost because you believed more in momentary pain than in the destiny that could emerge just ahead? How many times have you retreated mere inches from a breakthrough? The truth is that no one gives up at the beginning. People give up halfway, precisely when they are closest to breaking the barrier that has always held them back. That's why a simple step, a single extra movement, is so powerful. It shows your brain that the old pattern has lost its grip. It activates what neuroscience calls the expansion zone, the area where new habits begin to take root. It's where self-confidence is born, not as an emotion, but as a consequence. Therefore, try a simple test for the next 7 days. When your body says, "I can't take it anymore," stop, breathe, and take just one more step. One more. Not 10, not 20, just one. When your mind says, "Go back, it's safer," hold firm for a few more seconds. When fear tries to pull you back, treat fear like a visitor. Let it pass, but don't open the door. It's in this small act of continuing, even for an instant, that you begin to distance yourself from who you once were and start to approach who you can become. Because the great achievement is never in the leap. It's in resisting the urge to stop. And each time you resist, you transform. You strengthen, you grow, you advance. And perhaps, without realizing it, you are exactly at that point now. The point where many give up, but where the great ones continue. The point where the body aches, the mind complains, the will wavers, but where life shows signs that it's about to change direction. And if you stop now, you'll never know how close you were. But if you continue, perhaps you'll discover that what you were searching for was always just one step away. A true purpose is like an inner flame. Even when everything around goes dark, it keeps burning. But most people live their entire lives without discovering this flame. They wake up, work, solve problems, pay bills, and repeat it all the next day, without knowing why. And that's why any difficulty seems like an unbearable burden. Because when you lack direction, even the smallest obstacle seems like a wall. And when you have clarity, even the impossible starts to seem logical. Have you ever felt that? Waking up tired even before getting out of bed, as if carrying something invisible. Working all day and in the end feeling like nothing you did truly matters. This feeling is more common than you imagine. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of discipline. It's an absence of purpose. It's like running without knowing the finish line. And science confirms this. Research from the University of California shows that people with clarity of purpose have 60% more emotional resilience. That is, they suffer, get tired, cry, fail, just like anyone else. But they don't break, because they know the reason they are fighting. And it's this reason that transforms fatigue into energy, pain into fuel, and obstacles into stepping stones. Napoleon Hill lived this so intensely that his purpose practically lifted him off the ground. When Andrew Carnegie challenged him to interview 500 of the world's greatest leaders without pay, without promises, without guarantees, Hill was far from ready for it. He was young, poor, unknown. He had no status, no resources, no influence, and everything said it was impossible. But when he understood the project's purpose, something changed within him. Carnegie said that work could transform generations, that it could reveal to the world principles capable of taking anyone from mediocrity to the top. Hill understood that day that his mission was greater than his fears, his limitations, and even his literal and metaphorical hunger. This real moment sparks immediate inspiration because it reveals a profound truth. When your purpose is great enough, you don't give up, you expand. Hill didn't know if he'd have money for food, but he knew why he woke up every morning. And that why was so strong that the lack of resources never paralyzed him. He walked with the conviction of someone who had already won within, even though in practice he had nothing. Now think about yourself. When was the last time you did something so big that it moved you just imagining the result? When was the last time you set aside external expectations and asked yourself, what truly makes sense to me? Not what's expected of you, not what seems safe, not what's socially acceptable, but what stirs your soul. What would make you wake up before your alarm? What would make you work late without feeling burdened? What would make you persist even when everything around you seemed to fall apart? The truth is, without purpose, any criticism can bring you down. With purpose, no criticism matters. Without purpose, a lack of results breaks you. With purpose, a lack of results strengthens you because you know you're not fighting for now. You're fighting for who you will become. And when that understanding settles in, even suffering changes its flavor. It stops being punishment and becomes confirmation. A sign that you are moving forward. Do an exercise that changed the lives of thousands of people studied by Hill. Write your purpose in one sentence. A clear, strong, direct sentence. Science shows that writing increases the chance of achieving something by up to 42% because it transforms intention into commitment. Put this sentence on your mirror, on your phone, in your wallet. Because the day will come, it really will come, when you will want to give up. And when that day comes, this sentence will be your anchor. It will be the voice that says, "Keep going. Don't stop now." You know why you started. And perhaps without realizing it, you're experiencing the same thing Hill did in the beginning. Surrounded by doubt, by insecurity, with no guarantees, but carrying within you a purpose that hasn't yet been named. It already exists. It just needs to be revealed. And from the moment you find it, the path remains difficult, but it will never again be empty. Because pain stops being a reason to quit and becomes proof that your destiny is calling. There's a point in anyone's journey of growth where the greatest enemy stops being difficulty and starts being the opinion of others. No matter how strong someone is, there's always that instant when a comment, a disapproving look, a phrase spoken with disdain has the power to dismantle everything inside. And the curious thing is that often this doesn't come from strangers. It comes from close friends, people you respect, people you'd wish believed in you. That's when doubt settles in. That's when many stop. You've lived this, haven't you? That moment when you shared a dream and instead of support received veiled criticism. Something like, "But do you really think that will work out?" Or, "Wouldn't it be better to choose something safer?" And that seemingly innocent phrase turns into an enormous weight, a weight that presses on your chest and makes you question yourself. Am I getting carried away? Am I asking for too much? Am I going too far? Behavioral psychology shows that social pressure is one of the main causes of premature quitting. Not because people aren't capable, but because someone planted the seed of doubt at the wrong time. And here's a point few people realize. The criticism that hurts the most isn't the most aggressive. It's the most subtle. It's the one that comes with a smile. It's the one spoken with concern. It's the one disguised as advice. But sometimes this concern isn't born of love. It's born of fear. The fear of another projected onto you. The fear that person has of trying something great in their own life and unable to bear seeing someone close go further tries to pull you back into the zone that is comfortable for them. Napoleon Hill experienced this deeply. While writing Think and Grow Rich, interviewing leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries, he was harshly criticized. People said he was wasting his time, that he was delusional, that it was impossible to organize principles of success into one book that would change the world, especially at a time when millions were desperate because of the Great Depression. Hill was called irresponsible, reckless, deluded. But he knew something almost no one understands. Most people criticize not what you do, but what you represent. If you dare to dream in the midst of fear, you become an uncomfortable mirror for those who gave up too soon. And the most painful criticism Hill received came precisely when he was most vulnerable. He reported that during one of the most difficult phases of his research, when he was financially broke and emotionally drained, an acquaintance said something like, "You're chasing fantasies. Get a real job." This phrase hit him at such a sensitive point that he considered for a few hours abandoning the entire project. The audience's emotion upon hearing this segment isn't sadness, it's revolt and identification. Because everyone has had a dream killer at some point in their life. But the turning point comes here. Hill didn't give up because his vision was bigger than the disbelief of others. He understood that the criticism wasn't a diagnosis. It was merely the mental limitation of the one who spoke it. He understood that if he sought approval, he would never create anything grand. And this is one of the most difficult lessons for anyone on the path of evolution. The world only applauds after it succeeds. Before that, you walk in silence. And silence hurts. It gives the feeling of being alone, of being excessive, of risking too much. But this silence is also a filter. It's where you discover who is truly with you and who would only applaud if you won first. Statistically, people who rely too much on external validation have higher rates of anxiety, fear of failure, and premature abandonment of long-term projects. And this creates a dangerous pattern. The person only moves when they receive encouragement, and when they don't, they stop. Now think about your life. How many times have you stopped starting something because you were afraid of judgment? How many times have you made yourself smaller to fit into someone else's perception? How many times have you kept your dreams to yourself so as not to seem too ambitious? And how many of those times did you realize that the person criticizing never tried anything similar to what you want to build? Here's a necessary pattern break. If no one doubts you, perhaps your dream is still too small. The great names in history weren't doubted because they were wrong, but because they were ahead of their time. Boldness always provokes resistance. Always. The key is to learn to differentiate two things: the advice that helps you grow and the comment that tries to diminish you. The warning that protects and the criticism that paralyzes. The voice that guides and the voice that intoxicates. The first you listen to. The second you overcome. You don't need to prove anything to anyone now. All you need is to keep alive the vision that only you can see. Because when it materializes, the same people who doubted you will say they always knew you would go far. And at that moment, you will understand that continuing when no one believed made all the difference. To persist isn't to insist on the same path forever. To persist is to keep the destination in sight and adapt the route as many times as necessary. This is the part almost no one understands, and it's precisely why so many give up when life changes direction. The truth is that the world isn't interested in your perfect plan at all. It changes the scenery, flips the board, alters the rules in the middle of the game, and the one who wins isn't the one who tries to protect the original plan. It's the one who has the courage to rewrite the path without losing focus on the objective. How many times have you clung tightly to a strategy just because it worked in the past? How many times have you insisted on a method that no longer suited the person you were becoming? This is more common than it seems. Humans cling to the predictable, to the known, to what has already worked. But, ironically, it's this attachment that often destroys opportunities. Companies, relationships, careers, and entire dreams sink because someone was afraid to change course. Because someone preferred the security of sameness to the discomfort of reinvention. And here's the hard truth. It's not the goal that needs to change, it's the path. The dream remains the same, but the way to reach it changes as you grow. And when you resist this, life forces you to learn through pain. But when you accept this flexibility, something extraordinary happens. The process, even if difficult, becomes lighter. Because you stop fighting against the natural movement of evolution. This fact causes neither sadness nor excitement. It causes reflection. It's the kind of scenario that forces the audience to ask, how many times have I myself destroyed something because I was too inflexible? Because all of us have done this, we've held on to something that no longer served us. We've insisted on a path that had already expired. We've confused stubbornness with determination. The worst part is that this happens silently, without us realizing it. A plan that doesn't work out one time turns into frustration. 2 times it turns into insistence. 3 times it turns into pride. And before we know it, we're spending energy trying to push a door that has been locked for a long time. Think of how many opportunities you've missed because you were stuck on a single way of doing things. How many doors could have opened if you had changed your stance, your method, your approach? How many things didn't happen because you kept waiting for the world to adjust to you, when, in reality, it was you who needed to adjust to life's new moment? And here comes the most liberating part of all. Changing the path doesn't diminish your strength, it highlights your intelligence. Changing strategy doesn't make you indecisive, it makes you strategic. And accepting that the plan needs to be rewritten doesn't mean you failed. It means you've matured. The question is, which route are you trying to force now? Which strategy no longer works, but you insist on it just because you're afraid to try something different? What do you need to adjust, abandon, update, or reinvent? Not to change who you are, but to finally get where you know you should be. Because in the end, those who win aren't those who never change direction. They are those who change as many times as necessary until the goal is achieved. And perhaps right now life is waiting for you to take that next step, not to give up, but to reinvent yourself. Because it is this silent, humble, courageous reinvention that separates those who succeed from those who almost did. This leads to a truth that completely differentiates those who truly succeed from those who spend an entire lifetime almost getting there, continuing when no one sees, when no one believes, and when everything seems difficult. This is the central point, the pulsating heart of everything that has been said. It's not about extraordinary talent. It's not about being born in the right place. It's not about being lucky. It's the ability to keep moving forward when the entire world seems to push you back. Those who learn to do this transform any path into a possibility. And if this message resonated within you, if some part of what was said here touched your emotional state, then you already know that you are not alone on this journey. Life demands only one thing, that you take the next step. No matter the size, no matter the speed, just the next step. Now, before moving on, look at the video appearing on the screen. It is your next step, your next evolution, a 1% step forward in the person you are becoming. Thank you for being here, for allowing this exchange, and for giving yourself the opportunity to keep growing. I will see you in the next video.